Another senseless shooting at a house of worship just about 3 hours ago this morning, as a group of children were in a church in Minneapolis, Minnesota, just 3 days into the new school year. Young children, 8, 9, 10-year-olds, was sitting in the pews of their house of worship when about 8:30 this morning, a shooting occurred through the stained glass windows of this house of worship. 2 beautiful children were murdered on the spot, 17 injured. How can this possibly happen? A mass shooting at a house of worship. What a terrible tragedy. What has become to us? How have we arrived at this state? This is 2025, the 21st century. A senseless shooting on innocent, beautiful children in a house of prayer, praying to God. To me, this is very up close and personal. I am a survivor of a mass shooting that occurred at the house of worship that my wife and I built in Poway, California. On April 27, 2019, a 19-year-old white supremacist shooter, a terrorist, breached our synagogue. As I was talking to Mrs. Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay in the lobby, he opened fire, shot and killed Mrs. Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay, may her soul rest in peace, right in front of my own eyes. And realizing, and at the time, he lifted up the rifle to shoot and kill me. He got off 4 bullets. But I had children playing behind me that I turned around to go and save the children that were behind me. The 4 bullets got my 2 fingers, but the rest of me survived. That has been 6 years ago, but I relive that moment every single day of my life. The physical pain, the mental anguish, the PTSD of that moment doesn't go away. When I heard the news this morning about the senseless, tragic shooting at a church in Minneapolis, looking at the eyes of the children that survived this shooting, how they were robbed away of their innocence, the 2 children whose lives were lost, the 17 who are fighting for their life in the hospital. What darkness has descended upon this church at this moment? But just like the shooting that occurred to me personally, I can relate. Unless you have been through a mass shooting experience, you cannot imagine what it's like. I could imagine what it was like. I was there. I faced the shooter face to face. I was just feet away from the mass shooter when he killed Lori Lynn Gilbert Kay, and then when he tried to kill me. Fortunately, my instincts saved my life by running to bring the children to safety. Losing these 2 fingers is a reminder to me how grateful I am to have survived the mass shooting. But I'm thinking about these beautiful children who came to church to pray this morning. They were sitting in the pews of the sanctuary, praying to God. And now they are faced with a whole new life. The way I reacted to the mass shooting that I survived was realizing right away, we cannot change what happened, but we can change how we react. And that is when I realized that when there's darkness, there has to be light. A little bit of light pushes away a lot of darkness. The darkness that showed its ugly face on the church this morning will not remain dark, but we are going to increase in the light to push away the darkness. Firstly, I want to offer condolences to all the family members, classmates, faculty of those who lost their two beautiful souls at church this morning. I want to offer prayers for the 17 injured. I want to offer blessings of strength to the survivors of this mass shooting. And I want to offer strength to the faculty of the Annunciation Church in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I know what you are going through. I have gone through it. We will come through this together. Regardless of race, color, or religion, we are all children of God. We all have a right to live. We all have a right to come to church, to come to temple, to come to your house of worship and sit and pray in peace. No one has the right to take life away. No one has the right to show up with a rifle and shoot through the windows like a coward on little children who are sitting and praying their hearts out to God, praying for a life ahead of them. We are not even going to mention the name of this terrorist. He did take his own life. What motivated him to wake up this morning and to come to this church and to create such pain, suffering, carnage, and death, one could never understand or imagine. But in life, we cannot control what happens. We can control how we react. Our takeaway from this terrible tragedy is we cannot allow this tragedy to paralyze us. It just 3 hours ago this happened. We could just imagine what it was like for these children to have woken up this morning, put on the school uniform, just 3 days into the new school year, and they go to church, which should be a house of safe, a prayer, a house of God. These children are sitting in the pews, singing hymns and songs, beautiful voices of children. There are no sweetest or kindest voices of little children singing praises to God. And then all of a sudden, their beautiful prayers are shattered with the sounds of gunfire. Two beautiful souls died on the spot. 17 were injured. How do we wrap our brain around this? The only response is that we can and we must look for a greater future. And the way we have a greater future is by beginning from the very early foundations of education, is teaching children at a very young age the value of life, teaching them that there is a God, teaching them that God in heaven brought them to this world as a gift to the world, that they matter, they count. No matter what challenges they are going to encounter in life, the day they were born, God said the world can no longer exist without them. At a very young age, we must teach the children about accountability, responsibility, that they're never alone. God is always looking over their shoulder. No matter what life circumstances throws at them, they are never alone, that God is always with them. And that they are accountable for what they do. And to teach them the value of another human being's life. I remember after the shooting that I have survived, I was reminiscing when President Ronald Reagan assassination attempt, and we were trying to figure out what will motivate a person to want to kill a president of the United States of America. My Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson, the head of the Chabad worldwide movement, gave a talk, and he spoke about America needs to reintroduce a moment of silence in all public schools. We need to be able to, at a very young age in public schools, have the children have a moment of silence so that they have one moment a day that they get to think about who they are, what the mission on this world is, and just have a moment to think about your connection to God. If we can reintroduce that in the public school system, maybe we could prevent the next mass shooting. We need to bring back a moment of silence in every single public school. So if you are a person of influence, if you are sitting up on a board in a public school, reintroduce a moment of silence. We need to do something. We cannot just continue on accepting this type of tragedy amongst us. America needs to wake up and remember that the founding fathers of United States of America built America on God's presence amongst us. In God we trust is the mantra that we lived with. It's on our currency, it's wherever we look in America. In times like this, in times of tragedy, in times of darkness, God is not hiding, but God is with us. We don't understand why do bad things happen to good people. Why do bad things happen to beautiful, innocent children? As these children this morning have suffered. We'll never understand that answer. But what we do know is that God in heaven is a loving, kind God. God in heaven is crying with us. God in heaven is sad with us. God in heaven is in pain with us. But God in heaven is not going to allow us to remain in a state of pain. But God in heaven wants us to be able to recover from this tragedy. And America, wake up. Bring God back into your homes. Bring God back into the conversation. Teach your children about God's presence. Let's bring back a moment of silence in our public school system. So perhaps maybe we may be able to introduce the meaning of life in a more purposeful way and prevent another mass shooting. I conclude with a heartfelt prayer. I, as a survivor of a mass shooting, know exactly what you're going through. I know the pain, I know the suffering, but it's not going to end here. Life experiences doesn't define us, but it's going to refine us. Our challenges in life that we go through is going to make us stronger. Do not give up faith in God or in humanity. This darkness was very temporarily. We will dispel this darkness with a little bit of light. A little bit of light means you and I today needs to go out there and do random acts of goodness and kindness. The more goodness and kindness we do, the more light will bring to this world that will dispel the darkness. May God bless you. May God heal the pain and suffering that the community in Minneapolis, Minnesota are going through right now. May all the faculty members in the Annunciation Church be healed and get stronger from this, because together we will prevail, and together we'll see better and greater times. God bless you. God loves you.